So I think we can start. Hi all once again. I'm extremely excited to conduct this meeting with you all here today. The topic of our webinar will be why R3 columns are not enough when it comes to Agile retrospectives. I can see this question is really important, so let's dive in. First of all, a couple of words about myself. My name is Nadya. I am a project manager at IT Band System. I'm also professional Scrum Master certified, and currently I'm a project manager at Timbo. And Timbo is a agile collaboration tool for conducting agile ceremonies and events. And on behalf of Timbo, we conduct such monthly webinars. So a short plan for our meeting today. First, we define why we even think about using anything else rather than three standard questions in retros. Then I'll share some live examples of an interesting exercises that you can probably try and see how effective they are. At the end, we'll sum up with some useful tips and tricks for an interesting and effective retrospective, and we'll provide really useful links and dedicate some time for questions and answer session. So why we should even bother about diversifying retrospectives? Is it not enough to ask simple what was good, what was bad about the previous iteration, and what are our recommendations for the improvements? We all know that development teams value their time, and sometimes it's really difficult to gain a lot of insights during retrospectives and make them really fun. So I'll give you 3 reasons for diversifying your retrospectives and asking some different questions rather than 3 standard that we usually ask. And maybe you will see that you can relate to some of the problems raised. First of all, the blind spots. If you always look in the same direction from the same angle, the blind spots are inevitable. Well, if you come to the retrospective meeting and ask the same question over and over again, people don't put any effort to thinking about the process from the different perspective. Well, why? They are not asked to. So let's speak straight. We all know that development teams are really reluctant about speaking and wasting time on discussions. So we actually can't expect them to analyze more than we ask within our regular questions, right? And eventually some topics that we don't raise at retrospectives with our standard questions, these topics remain uncovered forever. And we can only imagine to which consequences that can lead. Another big reason is that you may notice that you hear pretty the same things on each retrospective. Well, actually, this can be a signal that you don't adapt and don't pay enough attention to the action points. But what if you do? Imagine that you come to the same place every 2 weeks and dig the hole in the ground to find gold. You realize this gold will end someday. If you keep digging in the same place with the same shovel, someday you won't find anything. You need to find another place to look at or buy another shovel to dig deeper. This all makes sense. So the same thing for the retrospective. You should try asking some other questions using some other different exercises so that you could dig some more precious insights. And the third and very important reason, especially now, is that your team's mood can be dramatically falling down. It is normal that if you keep discussing the same thing on each new meeting, people get bored. I strongly believe that retrospective meeting is not only about inspecting and adapting, but this is also a great chance to conduct a small team building, to support people, to create a great atmosphere. And this becomes even more important if you see some significant problems within your process, with your team, because when people see problems, they get demotivated, they work on the solution less willingly. So I strongly suggest, I really believe that conducting a retrospective in a way that everyone feels valued and inspired by the end of this meeting is really important. And again, 3 standard questions don't always work this way, unfortunately. So to sum up, we have 3 major reasons for trying to conduct the team retrospective with different, rather than 3 standard columns questions. You may need to improve your inspection and adoption process to remove the blind spots. You may need to lead the project on a new level. To lead the project on a new level, you can't do this without the team's engagement. So a project level is also important. And of course, you may need to increase the team's mood to conduct retrospective as a new small team building, which is also possible, which is also very important during remote work. So now we all agree, now we all understand why it is worth conducting a non-standard retrospective with the team. But how? What are the approaches? What are the tools? How to do that? Let's see what we have. Let's start from the process level. The key point in removing the blind spots is actually very simple. It's starting asking new questions. For example, this is a live situation from the retrospective we had some time ago. You can see a few stickers here and there, a few words on each of the sticker. This is boring, and this is a red signal that you need to try a different approach. So what we did, we tried just different template, asking what are the team wishes and appreciations, what risks and puzzles the team sees at the current stage of the project. This is just one of the great templates, which also helped us to ask ourselves, how often do we discuss risks and puzzles during our usual retrospectives? You can also ask yourself this question, because this is just the example of some areas that remain uncovered if you always use the same questions. So this is just the rep template. Another advice to remove the blind spots is just to change the viewpoint. And a great exercise is drop, add, keep, and improve. This exercise just extends the usual 3 questions that you ask your team on the meeting. It will not require too much effort from them. It will not be too difficult for them to work with a new template, but it will definitely give a deeper look on the same things that you usually discuss. So if you want to start by small steps, gamifying your retro by small steps, I definitely advise to start with this simple but very effective template. Also, one more way to encourage people to talk is personalizing questions. You see, when people come to the meeting, they usually know what they are going to be asked about, and they tend to prepare answers, and their answers are very general, and sometimes they even repeat after a colleague. So to remove that, you can start changing formats and try asking more personalized questions. This will encourage people to think, hey, what is it I think? What is it I learned? What is it I liked? And etc. And after that, they will answer more honestly, and their answers will probably reveal some things that you would never think about before. This is a very interesting template called 4LS, which is 4 L letters: liked, learned, lacked, and long for. You just simply ask each of your team what is it you liked, learned, liked, or longed for during the previous iteration. So personalizing questions really encourage people to express their own opinion, their own attitude, rather than repeating someone else's. Another problem to tackle, and I believe this is really difficult during remote, is to increase engagement. And first of all, I will recommend to use icebreakers and closing techniques. You can actually use 3 standard columns within icebreakers and closing techniques if you'd like, but I strongly advise not to skip them at all. Such exercise like such small and fast exercise like what is your mood, write some thank you cards to your colleagues. They are fast, they don't require too much effort, and they are really effective. They help people to feel close to each other. They can really feel that you are valued, and your work is not just, you do something that people do really recognize your work. This is really very useful. Those are really useful templates. There are some more exercises for icebreaking and closing parts, but actually you can create some of your own. The key point is to create trustful atmosphere and make the atmosphere so that people feel close to each other, especially on remote. Another hack to increase engagement is to use pictures or picture-based templates. The most popular are Starfish and Sailboat. Both these exercises raise important questions that are not always asked within our standard retrospectives. For example, what is our goal? What are our strong and weak sides? So these templates, they encourage us to analyze the project on a higher level, which we don't always do. And of course, nice picture always draws attention. So probably this also will work in your situation. And one more piece of advice when it comes to engagement is to use voting. Voting mechanism is really powerful instrument. This is the example how this works in Timba. Every team member is asked to express their attitude to this or that proposal by giving like or dislike. You may use some other images like hearts or something else. The key point here is to express what do you think about each idea that you and your teammates have generated during the meeting. This way, you will kill 2 birds with one stone. First, you will know what bothers the team most. Yeah, you will find the ideas that should be totally should be created as action points and actioned after the retrospective. And secondly, that again, every team member will feel valued. They will feel that they actually influence on how the project is moving, what is the project course, yeah, and they do really feel that they make a change. So I definitely advise you to try this. And here comes my favorite part. This is there are some piece of advice how to turn your retrospective into a small team building. And indisputably effective retrospective is a theme retro. You can choose any theme that you see right for the current situation. For example, a movie. A movie is always a great theme for the retro. For example, imagine that your project is a movie and ask your teammates to draw the poster for it. It can be schematic poster, it can be even a description in words what can be drawn here if someone feels shy about their drawing skills. Yeah. On the main stage of retro, you discuss what was good about the previous season and what do we expect in future episodes. And as a closing part, you can together draw a poster for the future sequels. This is really fun retrospective for both in offline and online formats, and I strongly recommend you trying it. Another great idea for thematic retros is to make use of holidays. For example, Timba suggested a nice template for Christmas. This approach is again doesn't require a lot of effort, because you can just ask the same questions, but wrap them into the holiday, into the theme of the holiday, right? Yeah. And you can also ask your teammates to wear something thematic at the meeting, for example, to wear something red, or to have some specific background or something else. So, for example, Valentine's Day is coming, and you can try adapting your questions on retrospectives, some kind of related to this lovely holiday. And another great theme approach is milestone. This is also a great way to make a small team building, because milestone retrospective is conducted not only once the iteration is over, but also after every significant milestone on your project. So, for example, we made a retrospective on 7 months of remote work. We discussed what we were proud of, what we were upset about, and what we learned during this 7 months at home. And also we tried to express our 7 months at home with 3 words. Such retrospective, the team recognized such retrospective as a new way of team building within a single heart. Why? Because every exercise that involves sharing personal feelings, this has a really great psychotherapeutic effect. And I think that this is actually one of the main points, one of the main goals of team building. So I definitely advise you to try one of these. So how to understand what is right for your team at the moment? The key thing to conduct a great retrospective and generate insights and increase team's mood is the first step, is to identify the problem. In general, we think there are 5 major problems that teams usually facing when retrospectives don't work. First is action points are not actioned. To avoid this, we advise to minimizing the number of action points you focus on, for example, to 5 of them. Then you add action points as a part of your regular discussions on your daily meetings with your team. You can probably create them as tasks in your task manager, so that to track the progress. And yes, this is one of the topics that you should always discuss on daily stand-ups. And also, when you finish retrospective, don't forget to check the team's mood and motivation, because if the team's mood is low, then people are not motivated to work in general, let alone to improve their work. So tracking team's mood is really important here. The second one is a bit similar to the previous, is that problems are raised, but nothing changes. So action points are not appearing and you don't know what to do with them. The answer is simple here. You should pay most attention to the recommendations and brainstorm the solutions. If brainstorming requires a lot of time, then your action point can be to create a meeting when you can brainstorm on this or that problem. And here I also advise to track your team's mood. The best approach here will be to track energy level of each team member. Energy level is simple. You just give some battery level dead at all and full of and fully charged, and your teammates will give you the will let you know which battery level they are referring to at the moment. This will give you the idea how the team is feeling right now. Another problem which I think people also face nowadays is that your teammates don't like retros. You see they participate very reluctantly. First of all, you should remind them of the agile principles. Retrospectives is just the same part of the work process as code review, smoke test, anything else. It can't be skipped, and it appeared through the empirical process, which means that it actually makes sense. No one invented it for just because he liked it. It really appeared because it made sense to do such meetings. Also, you can remind your team that the main goal of retrospective is actually to make their life easier. It's not Scrum Master making everyone talk and discuss something. It's Scrum Master making putting some efforts to make their life easier and better. So once you dealt with the retro goal and retro importance, you can try some gaming templates, try a different approach, so that the team will feel that this can be fun and enjoyable. And after you did everything of this, make sure that the action points are really actioned, because if action points are lost in backlog or just wasted, then the team will not understand why you talked about the retrospective goal and importance. And one more problem that teams can face is that there is nothing to improve. Well, actually, sometimes there is. Yeah, sometimes there is nothing to improve indeed. And if that's the case, then we advise to try different templates that will help to talk about the project from a higher level, and also look at your strong points from different angle. Maybe you can use your strong points somewhere else, if you are so great right now. But if nothing to improve problem appeared because of you being in blind spot area, which is also possible, we have already learned, then we advise you to change the template to anything different, and you will see if there are more insights or less insights or the same. Then you will definitely know if there is really nothing to improve. And the last but not the least, and really a really difficult problem right now, which I think a lot of teams faced when we moved to remote, is that there is no open talk. People feel shy, people don't want to express their concerns, they don't want to offend each other, they think they can spoil relationships, and so on. This is the most difficult problem to solve, because this involves personalities, and this requires most effort from all of the discussed above, from my point of view. First of all, make sure that your retrospective is a safe place to talk, and if you see that there is a problem of someone doesn't want to offend his or her colleagues, so that's why your teammates don't speak don't speak straight, because they don't want to spoil the relationship. We advise to do retro anonymously. So this means that you generate insights all on your own, and you don't you prepare some ideas, some stickers before the retro, so that people wouldn't have to express their ideas in words, because they will be they will be afraid to offend someone. So anonymity might be the way out here. And when there is no open talk, then there is something going on with your atmosphere in the team. So in this case, icebreakers and closing techniques are must-have for you. You should conduct such exercises so that to create a trustful atmosphere and so that people feel closer to each other. And some more tips to summarize. Try to focus on less on negative but more on improvement talks, because well, negative is already here. What we can do about it? Let's just brainstorm some ideas and focus on our strong and positive sides. Try only one new exercise at a time, because people can lose focus. And also a great tip is for someone else to conduct retrospective, if of course they want, because once the team understands the goal of the retrospective meeting and its importance, then Scrum Masters' work is actually done here. Because it's not Scrum Master's responsibility to conduct each Scrum event. Scrum Master's responsibility is to make sure that team understands why they conduct this event. So other team members can actually do this, and this will be a good experience for all of them. Don't forget action points. We've already discussed that, because without moving action points forward, all the meaning of all you said before will be useless for the team. Always keep within the time box. We've already cleared that development teams know that their time is priceless, and if you promise that you will finish in 1 hour, then finish in 1 hour. Anonymity is also a powerful instrument if you know there is a problem of open talks. And the most important part when you conduct retrospective on remote is turning on cameras. This is a must for any feedback sharing session, and retrospective is a feedback sharing session, because you see each other when you conduct retrospective offline. Why should you limit yourself here when you are at home and when you feel that you lose connection to each other? Maybe if you turn on cameras on every Scrum event meeting, then you would not need to use anonymity instrument, because when people see each other, maybe their concerns will not sound too aggressive, too offensive, and it will be easier to discuss hard and really negative things when you see each other's faces. You understand that you all are people and all make mistakes. So in conclusion, to conduct great retrospective, first of all, identify the problem, even if you think that you don't have it. Try to identify the problem and select different templates that will help you to solve it. Always use icebreakers and closing techniques. They will take 5 or 10 minutes of your retrospective, but give you a massive effect. Personalize questions to increase engagement. Make thematic retros and conduct retros not only at the end of iteration, but after every significant milestone. Here are useful links that have tons of different exercises and templates that will help you to conduct a great retrospective. A lot of advice, a lot of experiences. Visit these links, and you will not and you will not be lost in how to conduct a great retrospective. And this is it. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you found at least something useful for yourself. Here you can see the topics of our next webinars. And as always, for our listeners, we present a promo code for Timba tool, which you can see here. And some more gifts for our listeners, for those who will fill in the feedback form, which you can open through this QR code. And now I think I'm ready to answer the questions, if there are some of them So I can see one question. Is there a place for a custom approach? I mean, using your own template for retros, not for LS or something like this. Yes, yes, this is definitely a yes. Those are just templates that people generated and think they are working. You can create any template of your own that you think will be suitable for your current project situation. This will be only, or you will get only the best of it if you create your own approach. The key point here is to avoid the blind spots and to increase engagement of people in such meetings. So this is definitely yes. Custom templates will only be closer to your team. So maybe some more questions. Okay, I can maybe talk about some questions that I had before from you guys when you registered. Had some interesting questions about the participants. So about the participants, I have already told that anyone from your team can conduct retrospective once the team understands why they do it. Also, there was a question, can we have a retrospective with the project manager, business analytic and leads and without the rest of the team? Is it effective? I'd say it wouldn't be that effective if you don't invite all the teammates, because as leads, as managers, you see the whole picture from the top, right? And the people who really build the product, who really are into the work process, they will give you more insights about what is really good and what is really not so good about the project. So I strongly suggest inviting everyone involved in the project to retrospective. Another question is if there are too many people. We know that Scrum teams usually are from 3 to 9 people, and because more than 9 people are really difficult to manage, yeah, especially in one big meeting. So try splitting people in several teams, yeah, so that it will be convenient for them to communicate during the meeting. But make sure that everyone who is involved in the project is included at least once in the retrospective. So this is what I could say about the participants. And yeah, so maybe more questions. Yeah, maybe some more questions in chat. Feel free, guys, to ask, because while we're here, we can discuss everything. Yeah, you can also use the approach to convince your teammates to participate in retrospectives also for your business partners, because I know sometimes it's difficult to sell communications because clients, customers, they don't really understand why they should pay for it. So this is the same answer for selling communications and any meetings to your clients, because the agile approach supposes transparency, and if you it's important that you and your customer, your client, you both on the same page about what are you what is it are you doing within the framework you're working with on. And Scrum or Agile retrospectives, they suppose that there is that there are communication part that is inevitable. It's when you start the project without the decent discovery phase, business analysis phase, which is waterfall. Yeah, if you dive in the project after 2 weeks of discovering it, it's normal that the process is not ideal. Yeah, it's normal that you will need to improve the process, so each week, each day, each month. So this is the key point, that you need to communicate with your customer. I have one more question. How do you get people to talk about improvements when things didn't go well in sprint? Well, again, if you feel that this is about people fearing, being afraid of offending each other, then you can try anonymity. But if there is another issue, if people just don't want to talk about negative stuff, we always use one principle: if the problem is not raised, it will never be solved. So if people don't talk about negative things, then they will not be solved. They will not disappear. They will be repeated, and so on. So maybe if you try using this principle, it will be easier for you to encourage people expressing even something bad and really negative. In the nearest day, we will share the presentation and video with all of people who registered for the webinar. And thanks again for joining. I really enjoyed speaking here today. I hope this was really useful for you. And thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate you coming here. Bye-bye.